Two different types of chocolate and super easy to make. What's not to love about this muffin recipe? Let's get started. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. In the description box you'll find a link to the full written recipe. Don't worry about having to pause the screen. Start out with 1/3 cup of oil or 80 milliliters. To this add 2 eggs or 100 grams. I always tap them on the side of the glass, which a lot of bakers tell you not to do, and use a flat surface, but this never works out for me. If you're worried about eggshells getting into your product, just use a separate container and then add them to the oil. Then give it a quick stir so it's broken up well. Once we mix this, we want to add in 3/4 cup of milk or 180 milliliters. You can also add in 1 teaspoon or 5 milliliters of vanilla of your choice. Sometimes I leave the vanilla out if I'm using a high quality chocolate. This is your choice. It's not a necessary step. Now we move on to the dry ingredients. We start out with 1½ cups of flour or 225 grams, 1/2 cup of cocoa or 40 grams, 1 cup of sugar, 200 grams, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, that's 4 grams, and finally 1/2 teaspoon of salt or 2.5 grams. I like to put it in a sifter because cocoa powder tends to be lumpy. You can either stir it like this, or you can just use the side of your hand. It's your choice. I like to start out by stirring the mix because if you just pound it on the side of your hand, you tend to get a puff of cloud all over your table. This just keeps it more contained. Now if you notice there's a lot of lumps, I use the back of a spoon to push it through, but you can also use your fingers. Once again, it's however messy you want to get in the kitchen. And if there's any little tiny pieces left, you can just discard those. This isn't imperative to keep them all in. Now I just mix it just a little bit to get it well combined, and I'll put a little well in the center to pour the wet ingredients in. It just keeps it from splashing everywhere. As you'll see, this is a really simple recipe to make. You just basically stir it until you no longer see any flour, and then you add in the chocolate chips. But while we're mixing, I want to talk about the quality of chocolate that you want to buy. Spend as much as you possibly can afford to get a high quality of chocolate. It will make this muffin recipe outstanding. Now sure, if you are the type of person that goes out and gets the cheapest chocolate bar out there and you're satisfied, then don't waste your money. But if you like really high quality chocolate, I recommend splurging and getting some really nice chocolate. Once you get to this step, you want to add in the chocolate chips and just give them a quick stir. You don't want to overmix the batter yet again. Just get it in there where it's folded in nicely. Now hopefully you listened to me earlier and you already preheated your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. If you haven't done that, stop what you're doing now and go turn on your oven. Muffins love a high heat. A lot of people forget, they turn on their oven too late and they put them in too early and then they have flat tops. You don't want that. Once you're finished mixing the batter, you want to divide it equally among each tin the best you can. I recommend either using paper liners or spraying your pan even if it says it's a nonstick pan. I can't count the number of times nonstick surfaces have failed me. However, if you do spray your pan, wipe off any surface that's not going to come in contact with the batter because it can become sticky and harden over time and ruin your pan. I personally like to use a little bit of butter and spread it into each little tin if I'm not using a liner. That's more self-contained and it's not as messy as the sprays, and you don't have to have it all over your work surface and spend a lot of time cleaning that up. I'm using a little scooper, but if you don't have one of these, you can use a regular spoon. All you want to do is just make sure you divide it equally among each tin. Once you get all the batter into the tins, you want to bake this from 16 to 18 minutes or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean in the middle. Every oven is different, so just check yours when you first start. Let these cool down. Don't try to remove them when they're still hot. Once they're cool, remove them to a cooling rack and then let them finish cooling. I'll open one up while it's hot so you can see what it looks like. I really like how the chocolate just tends to melt all over the place. They are really soft, delicious, and gooey. If you like chocolate, you are going to absolutely love these. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you want to find more, there is plenty at jacksonsjob.com, or you can subscribe here to find more in the future. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.